God says you've been carrying questions in your heart that you don't speak out loud, questions that wake you in the quiet hours when the world is sleeping. Something has felt off, something has felt hidden, and though you tried to silence that whisper inside you, it kept returning. You sensed a truth beneath the surface of someone's actions, a truth that didn't match his words, and even when you gave him the benefit of the doubt, something still tugged at your spirit. You weren't imagining it. You weren't overthinking. You weren't being dramatic. Your heart felt the shift long before your mind admitted it. There is a moment when God steps between what you see and what you feel, and He gently turns your face toward what you've been trying not to look at. You've been holding on to the version of Him you hoped He would be, but God has been watching the version He has been showing to others when He thinks you're not aware. And God already knows the part of Him He's been hiding. He hears conversations spoken behind your back. He sees the pauses, the hesitations, the contradictions. He sees the intention behind His silence and the intention behind His sudden sweetness. And God is stepping forward now because your heart deserves clarity, peace, and truth, not confusion, waiting, or mixed signals. You've been loyal even when you weren't sure He deserved your loyalty. You showed up with sincerity while He showed up with layers. And though you wanted to believe every word He said, your spirit noticed the moments His words did not match His heart. When someone is not honest, it isn't always about the lies they speak, it's also about the truths they avoid, the emotions they withhold, the promises they give without intention, the care they perform without depth. Something in Him has been unstable, unpredictable, and inconsistent, and you tried to make sense of it because your heart loves deeply. But God is not going to let you anchor yourself to uncertainty. There is a truth He has been hiding, something He thought He could keep beneath the surface, something He assumed you would never question, something He thought time would bury. But God is about to reveal it. Not to hurt you, but to protect you. Sometimes God exposes a truth not because He wants to break your heart, but because He wants to prevent your heart from breaking later in a way that would be far more painful. You've prayed to see clearly. You've prayed for signs. You've prayed for peace. You've prayed for direction. This is God answering those prayers in the only way truth can be answered, through revelation. You sensed He wasn't being honest. It's not because you're insecure or suspicious. It's because your spirit picked up what your eyes couldn't. God made your intuition powerful for a reason. While He was presenting Himself as someone trustworthy, dependable, transparent, God saw the small cracks forming behind the image He created. God saw the moments He said one thing but planned another. God saw the conversations where He pretended to be confused, or busy, or unsure, even though He knew exactly what He was doing. You kept forgiving the little shifts in His behavior because you believed He was worth understanding. But the truth is, where there is confusion, there is usually a reason. Where there is inconsistency, there is usually something being hidden. You've been patient. You've been kind. You've been steady. You've been honest. And because of that, you assume others will treat you with the same heart you carry. But not everyone moves with the same integrity. Some people hide their real intentions out of fear. Some hide them out of selfishness. Some hide them because they want the benefits of being connected to you without giving you the truth you deserve. And some hide them because honesty would expose their lack of commitment. God is about to bring everything into light. Not through chaos, not through drama, not through sudden emotional destruction, but through clarity so undeniable that even your doubts will disappear. The truth behind his heart will no longer be something you guess, it will be something you see clearly. God is removing the fog, because confusion is not from him. God is removing the illusion, because deception is not from him. God is removing the weight you've been carrying, because heaviness is not meant for your spirit. There is a peace coming that will finally answer the questions that have been circling your heart. You have been trying to protect him from accountability by giving him space, time, and understanding. But God has been waiting for the moment when you stop protecting someone at the expense of your own clarity. You don't deserve half-truths. You don't deserve emotional shadows. You don't deserve someone who hides behind excuses. You deserve what is real, and God is stepping forward now because He will not let you settle for less than truth. He has been telling you only the parts of the truth that benefit Him. He has been hiding the part that would change how you see Him. That is the part God is about to expose. Not to embarrass Him, but to free you. Not to shame Him, but to guide you. Not to punish Him, but to protect your path. The truth that has been kept from you is the truth that will set you free from doubt. Your heart is about to understand everything it couldn't before. You've carried feelings you never intended to carry this long. You tried to walk away from the doubts, but they followed you. You tried to ignore the signs, but they grew louder. You tried to trust His words, but they kept contradicting His energy. And every time your heart whispered, "Something isn't right," you silenced it because you didn't want to judge Him unfairly. But what you call judgment, God calls discernment. What you call overthinking, God calls spiritual sensitivity. You weren't being paranoid. You were being protected. There have been moments when His behavior shifted so suddenly that you wondered if you were imagining things. One day He seemed present, the next day distant. One day He spoke with warmth, the next day with coldness. One day He seemed invested, the next day uninterested. These weren't random mood swings. These were signals. Signals of uncertainty. Signals of hidden fears. Signals of double-mindedness. And God allowed you to feel those shifts so you would question what you were accepting. You deserve someone who is consistent, not someone whose sincerity depends on his mood. You deserve someone whose loyalty is stable, not someone whose commitment wavers depending on who else is giving him attention. You deserve someone whose words align with his actions. And right now, God is showing you the difference between someone who speaks beautifully and someone who truly shows up. He has been keeping a part of himself in the shadows because revealing it would force him to be honest. And honesty requires responsibility. He has been avoiding that responsibility because he thinks hiding the truth will keep you close. But what he doesn't understand is that the truth will come out regardless, because God will not let your destiny be built on foundation of uncertainty. There's a part of him he hasn't revealed because it would ruin the image he presented to you. Maybe it's fear. Maybe it's inconsistency. Maybe it's emotional immaturity. Maybe it's his inability to commit. Maybe it's someone else he hasn't fully let go of. Maybe it's the fact that he wants to enjoy your heart without giving you one of his own. Whatever it is, he knows that revealing it would change everything, and God has watched this long enough. God has watched you shrink your needs so he wouldn't feel pressured. God has watched you lower your expectations so he wouldn't feel overwhelmed. God has watched you silence your questions so he wouldn't feel confronted. But God never asked you to make yourself smaller to fit inside someone else's comfort. God did not create you to be an option, a backup, or a temporary emotional anchor. The truth is, he has been torn between what he wants and what he's ready for. He wants the comfort of your presence but not the responsibility of your worth. He wants the reassurance you give him but not the accountability that comes with being honest. He wants the emotional safety you provide but not the vulnerability required to sustain something real. And God is about to expose this contradiction. You've been asking God, if he's not right for me, show me. You thought you were asking a simple question, but that question carries a powerful consequence. When you ask God to reveal the truth, he does it completely. And that truth is beginning to unfold now. The delays, the distance, the inconsistency, all of it is evidence of what he hasn't said. You may think God is taking something away from you, but he is actually revealing something that was never truly yours to begin with, not because you aren't worthy, but because he hasn't been ready to offer anything real. God isn't exposing him to punish him. God is exposing him to prevent you from being tied to someone whose heart is not aligned with yours. There is a shift happening inside you already. You've been feeling the separation even before a separation occurred. You've been feeling the truth even before it was spoken. You've been sensing the ending of a chapter even before he realized the story was changing. God always prepares your spirit before he moves in your life. He lets you feel the truth before you see it. The truth behind his heart is not what he has shown you. He has shown you the part that feels safe to show. He has hidden the part that would reveal his indecision, his confusion, his divided loyalty, or his lack of readiness. And God is about to bring that hidden part into light, not all at once, but piece by piece, in ways that confirm every instinct you ignored. There comes a moment when God stops letting you justify what you feel and starts opening your eyes to what is real. That moment is approaching for you, and maybe you've already felt it in small waves. The conversations that used to comfort you now feel hollow. The presence that once felt reassuring now feels unpredictable. The connection you once trusted now feels fragile. This isn't anxiety. This is alignment. This is God shifting you away from what would break you, toward what is meant to hold you. You have spent so much time trying to see the best in Him, and that speaks beautifully about your spirit. You don't judge quickly. You don't assume the worst. You give people space to grow. But sometimes the space you offer becomes a place where someone hides instead of evolves. He has been hiding behind excuses, behind timing, behind uncertainty, behind emotional walls he claims he cannot control. But God sees the truth he doesn't express. He is not being fully honest with you because he is not being fully honest with himself. He says he cares, and maybe he does, but not in the way you deserve, not in the depth you require, not in the consistency your heart needs. His care is real enough to keep you close, but not deep enough to treat you with the transparency you've earned. You keep wondering why he treats you like he wants you today and like he could walk away tomorrow. You keep wondering why he opens the door one moment and shuts it the next. You keep wondering why he initiates connection but avoids clarity. The reason is simple. He is torn between desire and responsibility. He desires your presence, but the responsibility of loving you fully terrifies him. He wants the comfort of what you bring, but he fears the vulnerability required to make it real. And instead of confronting this truth, he hides it, hoping you won't notice, hoping you'll stay even without the full honesty you deserve. But God is about to remove the veil. God is going to show you the truth not through drama, but through patterns. Patterns don't lie. Patterns reveal intention. And his patterns have been speaking louder than his promises. His inconsistency has been more honest than his words. His silence has revealed more truth than his explanations. And God is going to highlight these patterns until you can no longer doubt what you already feel. Sometimes the truth hurts, but sometimes the truth saves you from a heartbreak you didn't see coming. God isn't trying to hurt you. He's trying to prevent your heart from entering a space that is not equipped to hold it. You've outgrown the version of love that requires you to settle. You've outgrown the emotional limbo where he places you. You've outgrown the waiting game he doesn't even realize he's playing with your heart. God is exposing the truth because the place he is leading you is filled with honesty, consistency, stability, things he isn't offering you right now. You've been trying to build something on ground that keeps shifting beneath your feet. You deserve a foundation that does not tremble when feelings change, when moods shift, or when temptations appear. There is also another truth. He has not been honest about what he truly wants. He has been speaking out of his desire for connection, not out of readiness for commitment. He has been speaking from his loneliness, not from his stability. He has been speaking from his emotions, not from his intentions. He may not have meant to mislead you. But intentions are not enough when someone's choices leave you confused. God is not going to let you remain attached to a half-true version of his heart. God is preparing you to see everything clearly, His fears, His uncertainty, His divided emotions, and the truth behind His inconsistency. The truth may surprise you, but it will also free you. Because once you see what He has been hiding, your heart will stop blaming itself for feeling unsafe. God is about to confirm what your spirit has been whispering. Something isn't aligned. Something isn't honest. Something isn't being said. Something isn't being offered fully. And once this truth is exposed, the confusion you've been carrying will dissolve. You're not losing Him. You're losing the illusion that He was ready for what you were ready for, and that is God's protection. You have reached a point in your journey where God is no longer going to let you settle for almost, halfway, someday, or maybe. You have given too much of your heart, too much of your patience, too much of your loyalty to people who did not carry the same clarity of intention that you carry. And God has watched you extend grace even when your heart was quietly breaking. He has watched you accept silence when you deserved answers. He has watched you carry emotional weight that was never yours to carry. And now, the season of guessing is ending. The final truth God is revealing is not meant to shatter you, it is meant to release you. The pain you feel right now is not a punishment, it is preparation. God is untangling you from someone who cannot walk with you into the place He is taking you. This is not rejection, this is redirection. This is God pulling you out of emotional shadows and into the light of clarity. You've spent too long trying to interpret someone's actions when their consistency should have spoken for them. You've spent too long reading between lines that should have been transparent. God isn't exposing him to humiliate him. God is exposing him because He loves you too much to let you build a life on uncertainty. He is showing you the truth behind His heart because He knows your heart won't be able to flourish in a place where honesty is diluted. And once God reveals the truth, you will finally understand why your spirit felt uneasy despite your efforts to hold on. The truth is, He doesn't know what He wants yet, not fully, not clearly, not confidently. And the parts of Him He hasn't been honest about are the parts that God is removing from your life so He no longer blocks your destiny. You cannot wait for someone who is still wrestling with himself. Your heart is too valuable to be held by hands that are unsure. God is sending you someone who won't confuse you. Someone whose presence won't raise questions. Someone whose intentions won't shift with the wind. Someone who speaks with clarity because they aren't hiding behind fear. Someone who doesn't run from emotional responsibility. Someone who sees you and knows exactly what they want, and that is you. But before God can bring that blessing into your life, He must remove the confusion. He must close the door you've been trying to walk through even though it keeps hitting you on the way in. He must show you the truth so you stop pouring into a space that cannot hold the depth of your heart. This is why He is exposing what has been hidden. Not because you asked for heartbreak, but because you asked for clarity. Not because you asked for disappointment, but because you asked for truth. And God always answers prayers in the way that protects your future, not in the way that protects your temporary feelings. Once the truth is fully revealed, you will feel a release you weren't expecting. The heaviness will fall away. The anxiety will quiet. The questions will fade. And the attachment will loosen. God will give you peace that replaces the confusion. He will give you strength that replaces the doubt. And He will give you understanding that replaces the hurt. You will not chase clarity anymore. Clarity will come to you. You will not chase answers anymore. Answers will arrive. You will not chase honesty anymore. God is delivering truth straight to your spirit, and when the truth finally meets your heart, you will look back at this chapter and realize something powerful. God didn't expose him to break you. God exposed him to prepare you. God exposed him to protect you. God exposed him because your destiny is bigger than the love you thought you needed. You are stepping into a new season, one where honesty is natural, where love is secure, where effort is mutual, where intentions are clear. The confusion is ending. The fog is lifting. The truth is settling. And your heart is being placed back into the hands of God, where it has always been safe.